My apologies, it is 6:02. So let's get this business meeting of Urbana School District 116 started. We're called to order. Roll call, please.
Member Staton? Member Jones?
Here.
Member Hickson?
Here.
Member Baxley?
Here.
Member Langendorf here. Vice President Exum?
Here.
President Pulowski?
Here. We have a quorum. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to tonight's agenda? No, hearing none. Now would be time for citizen statements. If anybody here present wishes to make a statement before the board, please fill out a goldenrod sheet that located in the back of the room and hand it to our recording secretary, Lori Johnson. We don't have anybody this evening. There is no call for an executive session after tonight's meeting, so the chair would entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So move. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And is there a student ambassador report tonight? No. No. Enjoy your spring break. Board reports. Any board member wish to give a report this evening? Go ahead, Sherry.
Okay, I don't know, Ben, I don't know if we want to chime in here, but Ben and I attended the orientation for new sixth graders over at the sixth grade center. It was held at the middle school, and it was standing room only. There were seats available, but still standing room only. But it was a really good turnout, and I'm not a parent, but as a community member who wanted to know what was going on, it was full of information. And you could see the amount of work that has been put in regarding the student schedule, the teachers that are going to be there, the expectations of behavior. And I thought that it was related really well, and that all the students who had questions, that was really wonderful, because they're just as concerned about, going to a new building as parents probably are, and as we are as well. So it was really nice to see their questions and their concerns that were being answered, and Ms. Carr gave lots of reassurance to everybody that there's a plan and there's a procedure, and she's available for anybody. So that was really nice. I don't know if you want to chime in.
Well, I think you covered everything. I concur. It was well received, I believe. I'm excited about it, and my kid is excited too. With the amount of attention he had, he wasn't paying much attention to it, but yeah.
He was listening, though.
He was, yeah.
He was there.
He was there.
Yeah, okay. So that was the first thing. The other thing that I wanted to say last time that I didn't have my notes about, Jennifer Hickson and I did have opportunities, or made the opportunity to meet with anybody in the community over at the Wellness Center. I don't know exactly what day it was. Okay, a long time ago, a week ago Monday. And we just wanted to make sure that anybody who wanted to talk to us about what it meant to be serving on the board, if they had any questions, we were available. As it turned out, they were very welcoming to us for being there. Nobody showed up, but we were available. They were very welcoming, and we were able to have the community room to ourselves. We had coffee available. There's a coffee machine in front, and we were able to use that. The only thing was missing, I think we could have had a sign out in front of our door so that anybody that was there could just stop in. So we took the chance of meeting during the day, and I was hoping, because of the procedures that we did decide on, that maybe in April that we can switch it, and maybe two board members can meet in the evening, and then May again during the day, and then June in the evening. We could go to the Wellness Center. They're available for us on Mondays or Wednesdays. Mondays and Fridays, or we can pursue what we had initiated, possibly with going to the library. There's parking at the Wellness. It's easy to get to. So, that's something that I wanted to bring up for a possibility.
Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else? Proceeding with our agenda, let's start off with an action item for administrative personnel items. Angie, can you provide context for the board?
Sure. Ms. Williams, you want to join us at the table? So we'd like to welcome Ms. Katrina Williams, who moved to the Champaign-Urbana area a little bit over a year ago with her husband. And she is a dedicated educator and instructional leader with over 20 years of experience in instructional leadership, curriculum development, instructional design, and professional learning facilitation. As the current director of student achievement for young audiences charter schools in the greater New Orleans area, Katrina plays a critical role in enhancing academic performance through data-driven strategies, targeted instruction, data analysis, and collaborative teacher support. With a passion for empowering educators and students alike, Katrina is committed to fostering a growth mindset and building capacity within school communities. Prior to her current role, Katrina has served as an assistant principal, MTSS/504 coordinator, dean of curriculum and instruction, and instructional data specialist. She has led initiatives that improved student outcomes and strengthened instructional practices on a school and district level. Katrina has a proven track record of aligning curriculum with state standards, analyzing assessment data, implementing school improvement strategies, and supporting educators through coaching, professional development, and instructional modeling. Beyond school and district leadership, Katrina is a published author and recognized conference presenter, sharing expertise in differentiated instruction, grammar and literacy strategies, and data-informed teaching practices. She holds a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in education. A recipient of multiple teaching and leadership awards, Katrina continues to make a lasting impact on education by equipping teachers and students with the tools they need to succeed. Katrina is excited to bring her passion for student success and instructional excellence to Urbana Middle School and the Urbana School District. Katrina, it is our pleasure to recommend you to the Board of Education to serve as the assistant principal at Urbana Middle School. And she, if you notice, is supported here already by Ms. Kearns, Principal Kearns, and also Derek Ely here to support Ms. Katrina. So that's what we have for you this evening.
The chair would entertain a motion from the floor to approve administrative personnel items in section 9.1.
I move for approval.
Second?
It's been moved to second. Any further comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Jones. Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum?
Yes.
President Pulaski?
Yes, congratulations and welcome to the district.
Yes. So Ms. Williams, if you will hit the little button to turn green so that we'll be able to hear you. And just, it's a little button. There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
I just want to, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be a part of your school district. I'm looking forward to everything that Urbana has to offer for me, and it's quite different from the South, and so I'm getting used to the weather, but I'll get used to that. But I'm so excited to be here, and I hope to represent you guys well and making a positive impact on your community. And I also wanted to, my husband is the reason I'm here. He works for Canadian National Railroad. And so that's why we're here in Illinois.
Yes.
Oh, welcome.
Yes.
We're happy you're here.
Yes. And on a personal note, it was quite impressive, the homework that Ms. Williams did prior to her interview. She really brought a lot of information to our team. It was quite impressive. So we're excited to have you as a new member of the Urbana family.
We do have two administrative reports this evening. The first up is a first read on our 2026-2027 district calendar.
Okay, so I'm going to keep it brief and hopefully spend more time with questions. So as you know, we approved the 2025-2026 calendar last week, and as we shared with the board, we basically took that model and mirrored for 2026, 2027. I did just want to point out a couple of additional changes, and so things that we put in the last calendar, but also something new. We did survey our staff members. I know we didn't send anything to parents, but we had a very overwhelming response to survey data from staff. And one of the comments that we heard a lot, and one of the things we asked them about, was really incorporating a cultural calendar, which we've shared that already, but also incorporating more of the religious observances that our families for our families, and for some of our families who have very specific cultural, just cultural holy days and just cultural observances. And so as we put in our 2025-2026 calendar, we kept Yom Kippur. This school year, Yom Kippur is on a Monday, which is September 21st. You'll see that listed there as fall holiday. A lot of the discussion we had with the last calendar we just approved was just the idea. There wasn't a reluctance to including the holiday. It was just that the fact that it fell on a Thursday, and just all the conversation around, student attendance and, will students be returning on Friday? I've already received a couple of emails from parents who have said it's going to be really difficult for them having, finding childcare on a Thursday, and then, just that was some of the issues that have already been brought to the table. So I've emailed a couple of people in district and said, hey, what are some things that we can do to support families who are going to struggle with having childcare on that Thursday next year? So we're going to try to pre-plan and kind of get in front of that. But the one of the positives, which we'd already agreed as a calendar committee, is the fact that Yom Kippur falls on a Monday for 2026. Really is really, I think, easier for us in terms of not stopping instruction in the middle of a week, not having our older students who we know sometimes have those really particular struggles with being absent. They can come on Tuesday and we can still get a full day of 4 days of instruction in. So that is there for September 21st. We kept all of our other big things that we talked about in our survey for staff. Is we kept the student-led parent-teacher conference nights where they fell in the 2025 calendar. We put those in front of fall break again, which is something that our staff overwhelmingly said that they preferred. So that is still there. We also, no changes to Thanksgiving break. We did keep our the extra day that we added. We did not add it to the first semester. One of our challenges is always that first semester is a little bit shorter, and second semester we're always looking for days. So, kind of not adding that day there was a decision that we didn't make with the committee, but I think what we decided to do is just as good. So we didn't add the day to the December 22nd, that Monday or Tuesday for students. We were afraid if we added that extra day for Yom Kippur on Monday, December 21st, students would not be coming to school. So it was it's something we just felt like didn't make sense for our students to expect them to come back on December 21st, and then staff would have to be there on December 22nd. So what we did instead is we added that extra student attendance day to the end of the year, and we're going to close out the year on a Friday, which makes sense. So second semester is where we added that second student attendance day on May 28th, that Friday. We would have, without that extra day, ended on May 27th. So going one extra day at the end of the year just made a lot more sense than trying to add a student attendance day on Monday, Monday, December 21st for our kiddos. We have added another religious holiday. I think one of the biggest areas of feedback that we did receive from our staff members is that we have a lot of our students, and we continue to register new students at King School especially, and middle and high school, who observe Ramadan and Eid, and who are Muslim families. And so overwhelmingly our staff, lots of comments around we should be recognizing that. And so we did do that this year, and we put in a spring holiday, March 10th on a Wednesday. So same thing with having a day off of school in the middle of the week. We're going to have to be very intentional around If we can plan some kind of school's day out for families so they have an option for childcare that day, that would be great. So we'll really try to problem solve with our people to get something in place for that, because it'll be very similar to what we're going to experience next year with Yom Kippur being on a Thursday, is having a day off on a Wednesday. Kind of just breaks the week apart there. But having student-led conferences being right behind it will help a little bit. So hopefully all of our students come back on Thursday as we get ready for conferences on Thursday night. Spring break, no changes, and then our spring holiday is still there, Good Friday, and Staff Development Day mirrored to the same time that we have it for this year coming up. So those are the big changes.
Board members, any questions? I guess the question I have is when would this be coming to the board for a vote?
At the meeting, the first meeting in April,
Okay.
April 1st. Is it April 1st? Yes, April 1st.
I just wanted to add, this is what synergy looks like, and this is why we have a calendar committee or a committee of parents and teachers and administrators and community members, is because we get not maybe the best, but the best with what we have to work with. And I
Sure.
think that everybody was listened to. It didn't matter how you voted, if you had something to say, and if it was useful, we could work that around and come up with something as good as this. I mean, we can give all the cultural handouts and calendars, but what the reality is what happening in the schools. And over the weekend, I didn't know this before, but over the weekend I learned that one of the elementary schools on Yom Kippur this year had a potluck, and they called it a feast. And when parents came and had a concern about it, the response that they received was, well, there's no other day to do it. Well, there's not too many of you anyways. And I think that, that's the message that they received. So had I known that before, I certainly would have conveyed that during the calendar committee, so people would, participants would have known what the response was. And also the feeling that because Champaign had a day off and we did not, that led other families to go to Champaign instead of Urbana schools. So I think when we say we honor diversity, we are welcoming, this is a calendar that demonstrates that. So I'm happy that the calendar committee was able to put something together that is so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do think we are doing whatever we can at the administrative level to help educate our administrators as well. I know we sent out a lot of messaging at the beginning of Ramadan to make sure our administrators had a plan for, the students who celebrate Ramadan fast for a whole month, and it is really hard to go to the lunchroom every day if you're fasting for a month and watch other students eating. So we made sure people had alternate spaces for our students to go if they're fasting for the month. And so just making sure you're having those conversations ahead of time. And so our buildings have a plan, and it isn't, a surprise. And, we're just kind of telling kids, well, you figure it out. So we had a lot of teachers who advocate, and our staff members had a lot of comments to say in the survey around the population of the students that we're serving, and we need to be culturally sensitive and culturally competent for what we're doing. So I agree, Sherry. I think a lot of voices were heard, either people who came and talked to me personally. I know board members have people who talk with them. So I do agree. I think there was a lot of voice and choice in, what we are doing for the next 2 years for our calendar, once approved. So.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Moving on, our last administrative report tonight is an update on our strategic planning process.
All right, so you have 2 documents in front of you. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, so this one you did not need, so you can put the one that's stapled away. That is for program council for Thursday, sorry. You do have a flyer, which is in color, that I will be sharing that out very soon with people who are either signing up because they're interested in being on the strategic planning design team, or people who are going to be volunteering, or principals I know are going to be going out and asking, some of their stakeholders to represent their buildings in this space. So, and we have people from the community. So I already have a couple of people who I've said, hey, if you're available on these two dates, please set it aside so you can be part of our planning team. So this is just that kind of invitation flyer. And then we have a RSVP Google form. The other form that you have is just kind of our process and a little bit about what we're doing. So at the end of this, I really hope to have a nice representation of our work through the process. So this represents a lot of the engagements that we're currently still going through. And so I'm still out going through different spaces. I just had the Spanish BPAC group last night. We'll be having a conversation at Program Council on Thursday. We have 2 of our 5 school community listening sessions already completed. We've been to Dr. Williams and UECS. On Friday night, Yankee Ridge Multilingual. Tomorrow night, I'll be at Leo, and then Thursday at Thomas Paine. And then after break, we were able to set up the Ivanhoe visit, so I'm really excited about that. If you remember, I was trying to get some of those really specific neighborhood spaces where we have some of our families of color who reside and live. And the only one so far that we've been able to set a date for was our Ivanhoe families, and that'll be on March 31st. Hopefully it'll be warm enough to be outside because they don't have an inside space. So we'll be outside at the pavilion. So we'll have to have a rain date in case it rains, and then we'll be at King. And so I just wanted the board to kind of see some of the areas. Once this is all complete and we have numbers to put here, we'll be able to put the totals of all the people that we've engaged either through a small group or through a special group, or we have a very specific sign-in form that we're having people fill out when they come to community meeting spaces. And then, of course, all of our folks who are participating on the Portrait of a Graduate design team. So I think my main goal tonight was really to have a conversation with the board around who is going to be representing the board on our 2 days on August 16th and 17th. I can tell you a little bit about what those days look like. I was trying to get this to Lori to print, but our principals meeting went a little longer. So on the 16th and 17th, we'll be at iHotel. As you know, when we went through our budget, we have a very specific budget amount for strategic planning. I looked at using some of those bigger companies to come in, but they're so expensive. So there are groups out there who come in and will do strategic planning for you at the cost of just $40,000 or $50,000, and no big deal. Yes. Plus travel, and you're paying for the airfare, travel, or whatever. So we've decided not to do that, and we are going to go to iHotel. I felt like we needed to be away from our buildings, and we don't have a space during the day where we can put 50 or 60 people. So we will go to iHotel. We have a big breakout room planned, and we'll be in one of the bigger rooms, and then several breakout rooms for day 2. I am planning, and I've been working with one person in particular through LUDA. He's a retired superintendent who is very successful and has started his own, kind of doing this work on his own as a consultant. So I've had a couple Zooms with him, and so I think he's going to help facilitate the sessions with us, because there are a lot of things that we're going to talk about in our data that aren't positive. I mean, we've been having those conversations about culture, climate, discipline, some of our student learning data, and I think it'll be helpful to have an outside person to help facilitate some of those conversations. And so I've been Zooming with him, talking a little bit about our process, talking a little bit about some of our engagements, and so I'm hoping that he will be the one who will just kind of help walk us through and facilitate. So it doesn't have to be me there the whole 2 days, or our district directors doing it all. So we'll spend the first day really just kind of setting the stage a little bit and looking at some of our overall district data. And then we'll unveil our portrait of a graduate. We're getting very close. We are now down to about 4 competencies and skills, so we have a couple more that we're talking about. And then we'll take some of our district data and that portrait and start that first day really just talking about our why and really looking at our mission statement, and then what we value. And then day 2 will be just really getting down to the nitty gritty and setting a goal for a priority area, and really pulling out all the data. So we're going to have so much data, a lot of it very qualitative, lots of anecdotal data through the conversations that we've been having with parents. We have the survey data that we'll share, and I'll share some of that at one of our next meetings prior to this, so the board members who aren't going to be there can see it. So I'll do that at our first, at our study session in April. So we have the themes, we have the strengths, but we really want to focus our conversation on some of the opportunities for growth that we're hearing from our community. So a lot of the comments that we've been looking at, I know the Portrait of a Graduate team got to look at with 2 very specific questions in our survey about what as a stakeholder of the community do you see as what is needed as a skill for our graduates. And so some of the comments and some of the stories that people told in their comments, just some of the reflections. We had about 50%, about 49% of the folks who took the survey were parents, but then on the flip side, about 40 to 45% were staff members. So but it was really interesting that a lot of the comments were very similar. So our staff and our parents are seeing some of the same things, that we do have some of our students that have gaps. They do need to be critical thinkers and better problem solvers, and so I think the data we've been getting has been great. The in-person conversations have been fantastic. People that are feeling really comfortable sharing, these are some of the things that we really think you could do better. One that I'm going to point out, because I have heard it in every single in-person space that I've been in, is a parent has said to me, and one of our skills is communication for the Portrait of a Graduate we've been talking about. But I've had a parent say to me in every single one of these spaces that they would like us to have one system of communication. This was an example from last week. A parent said, I'm a 2nd grade family. I started in early childhood. I have had to learn a new platform every single year that my kid has been in school. My teacher was using something in early childhood. I went to 1st grade, and this teacher loved Class Dojo. This teacher loved Clever. This teacher loved Seesaw. And now my current teacher is using Remind. I mean, and the parent said, I'll use whatever you want. Just teach me one thing that I can learn from kindergarten to, 12th grade. And so I've been really surprised because that hasn't come out in any other way. And it's kind of overwhelmingly coming out. It was in our survey responses. It's been in the in-person conversations, but having these one-on-ones with people and just sitting down in these little small group settings, people are sharing that. A person shared that in the Spanish BPAC meeting last night, that they also feel like they just want to learn one platform, one app, and I will use that same app. And so we're looking at a couple of those, and I know it'll be hard because our buildings love, we have one building who loves Seesaw, and everybody loves Seesaw, and we have teachers who love Class Dojo, and we have teachers who love Remind, and I think this is one of those moments, this is why I'm using this example, this is one of those moments where having something come through so organically through the strategic plan is going to help us be able to go to schools and say, our parents are asking for this, and this is something that we really need to do. And it'll be hard to give up the thing that you love, but here's something that we found that we can all use. And so I think that is kind of just one of the examples that I wanted to share, I think, that have come up through surveys, through in-person conversations, through small focus groups, through big groups. So, so yeah, I think we're going to have a really interesting 2 days. So I'd love to know who would like to be there with us for those 2 days. Oh, okay, Jennifer. Anybody else?
I mean,
No, it's-
I would like to, but the
I
fact
know
that
it's
it's a
hard.
Wednesday and Thursday, when I'm
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's really hard for me to get.
I understand. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody else? All right, so Sherry and, oh, oh, it's in April. You'll still be here. We won't be switching the board till May. No, no, no. No, no. April 16th, 17th, no.
Yeah,
But I do think it makes
And
sense to have.
if no one applies, you could always apply, you know.
Oh, I've not used that one on her, you're right. Um, okay. Sherry and Jennifer, yeah. And they are both representing the board on program council, which is where we have a lot of conversations. Not this week, I know, yes, not this week. But our program council group this week is going to do a something called a SWOT analysis, which is you talk about strengths, W is weaknesses. We don't like to use the word weaknesses, but like needs and challenges. O is opportunities, and then T is threats. And threats means it's those, what are those barriers that keep us kind of from doing some of the things that we know we should be doing as educators. So we're going to have them break up and really talk about culture, climate, student discipline, because that is a huge area that everyone has been discussing. And then they're going to be able to choose between that area or student learning and student achievement. And so because we can't have 140 teachers be there with us in person, this is a way for them to get their voice into the conversation. So they're going to break up in groups and kind of talk about what are the strengths that we have in these areas, but then what are our opportunities that we can grow from a teacher's lens. And then we'll collect that information from them. And then on day 2, we're going to have so much data to share. We'll have qualitative data, we'll have survey data, we'll have these SWOT analysis breakdowns from our teachers. So there'll be a wealth of data to really help us inform what our priority areas need to be. We already know we're going to have one of them be facilities and finance for the long-term facility project things that we talked about at our last meeting, but then we need to decide as a group what are the other big areas that we want to have as priority areas. So that'll be day 2. So thank you, Jennifer and Sherry, for volunteering. Oh, okay. Lola says she would like to do it, so now you got to do. Okay, Sherry, what do you want to do? Lola says she'd like to. Okay, so you have Lola. Okay, all right. We can only have 2 for OMA, yeah. Yeah, we can only have 2 people. Well, she said if no one else wants to do it when she volunteered. Okay. Or you guys can talk and let me know. How about that?
Okay.
It's fine? Okay, okay. So Lola would like to. So we'll have Jennifer and Lola. Okay, thank you guys. More, I'll keep bringing you more updates between now and the 16th and 17th.
Okay. Sorry, I can find my agenda again. We do have a list of action items for our consent agenda. 11.1 are our minutes for our February 18th business meeting, February 20th special meeting, February 25th district parent teacher advisory committee meeting, and our March 4th study session. 11.2 is approval for February bills for payment. Is being requested in advance because this meeting is coming a week early because of spring break, and we don't have all the numbers yet. There'll be a follow-on action item on a future agenda with the actual numbers, but this is authorizing our office to make the payments. 11.3, that's a list of regular personnel items. 11.4 is interfund loans from working cash to O&M for $400,000, from working cash to tort for $200,000, from working cash to IMRF for $200,000. 11.5 is the IHSA membership renewal. 11.6 is a resolution authorizing and directing the sale or disposal of district property in accordance with state law. Now, this includes DPW library books, various technology items, various old machinery parts, filters, carpet squares, damaged paper towel dispensers, and a variety of paper products. There's a new account approval for 11.7 being requested for the welding lab at Urbana High School. 11.8 is a garbage disposal contract extension with GFL Environmental for sanitary hauling and recycling. And our last item for the consent agenda is a walk-in cooler replacement bid being awarded to David Hoke Mechanical of Urbana for $374,850. Does anybody wish to have any of these action items removed to be a separate individual action item?
I do.
I'm just, the walk-in cooler, is that something that we just can get some more information about before we vote on it?
Yeah. We can remove that from the consent agenda and deal with that separately.
Yeah, it's just so much money
That's
that I
fine.
would just like to have a little bit more information.
Sure. So the chair would then entertain a motion for a consent for consent agenda items from 11.1 through 11.8. Is there a motion to that
Yes,
effect?
I move that we consider 11.1 through 11.8 on the action items this evening.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
For the entire consent agenda, is there any further comments, questions, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum?
Yes.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up would then be 11.9 for the walk-in cooler bid. Is there a motion for the floor for this single action item?
I move to consider, what? Okay, I move to approve the walk-in cooler replacement bid.
Is there a second?
Second.
So now we can actually ask questions and discuss.
Well, I'm glad Quest is still here, so if I need some backup on this, they can help me. It's just reached the end of its life. We put a lot of money into it. It continues to have leaks in it through the roof. A few years ago, we went in and put a bunch of spray foam on top of the cooler to keep the condensation from coming through the cracks where it's seamed together, and that's even failed at this time. So just time to upgrade, do a more energy efficient cooler. They'll be the same size. I don't know what else to say about it, but we put a lot of, in the past 5-6 years, we put a lot of money into it for like motors, just everything in general. It's at the end of its life cycle.
What is the life cycle?
They say about 20 years.
How old was this old one?
More than 20 years. Yeah. When I've been here 21 years maybe. It was in there then, and I remember like they went in and they like tried to reseal all the seams at that time. We replaced a lot of motors. And then, I mean, we've always had that little drip in there, and then, you know, you can't have that in a freezer because it turns to ice, and then when they're with a chisel or like a hoe or something, breaking up the ice. And then with the cooler itself too, we'd always get condensation in there coming through the roof onto the floor. Yeah, so we've done a lot of fixing on that it probably should have been done. I remember Oda and Kevin Logson talking about it, and Kevin's been retired for 10 years or more, so it was talked about then, replacing it.
Yep. Yeah, both this cooler and the old high school cooler were things that kept Oda up awake at night.
Yeah.
He talked my ear off about both of them. So, anyone else, comments or questions? Roll call vote would be in order then.
Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum?
Yes.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
We do have another set of individual action items. These happen every year about this time, where, according to the school calendar, we are informing staff members that they are being dismissed or their grant-funded positions are can't be confirmed at this point, and we have to inform them that they're going to be RIFed but pending approval of future grants. So there's a number of resolutions here that we take very seriously that can be read off one at a time that we're doing basically to meet state law. 12.1 is a resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of a full-time teacher. There's one person affected here.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of one full-time teacher as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum.
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Member Baxley.
Yes.
12.2 is a resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of full-time grant-funded educational support personnel with a 30-day notice. There are 8 people affected here.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of 8 full-time grant-funded educational support personnel as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or discussion?
Yeah, I meant to say this before, I'm sorry. I've been in this situation, and it's not easy to not know at the end of the year, during the summer, if the money's going to come through. I think the situation now is even worse. Heard that 50% of the people who work for the Department of Education were going to get fired tonight, the U.S. Department of Education. So who knows what we're going to have to deal with. But in a situation where we want our people our employees to stay, where we value them, and then we have to do this is terrible. As I said, I've been in this situation almost every year as an adult ed teacher, and one thing that I was very concerned about is whether or not I had at least health insurance over the summer, and I've been a guarantee that our employees will have that if they have that during the school year. So I feel a little bit better that we're watching over them, that we're caring for them, and that we want them to return if things turn out favorably, which we all hope.
Well, thank you for that, Sherry. Any further comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice President Exum.
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Member Baxley.
Yes.
Member Langendorf.
Motion passes. 12.3 is a resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of full-time grant-funded educational support personnel with a 45-day notice. There's one person affected here.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of one full-time grant-funded educational support personnel as presented.
Second.
Comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
President Pulowski.
Yes.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Member Baxley.
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum.
Yes.
12.4 is a resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of full-time educational support personnel with 45-day notice. There's 3 people affected here.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing honorable dismissal of 3 full-time educational support personnel as presented.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Member Baxley.
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum.
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes. 12.5 is a resolution authorizing dismissal of part-time grant-funded educational support personnel. 45-day notice. There's one person affected here.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing dismissal of 1 part-time grant-funded educational support personnel as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Member Baxley.
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum.
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Motion passes. 12.6 is a resolution authorizing dismissal of part-time grant-funded educational support personnel. 30-day notice. 13 people affected here.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing dismissal of 13 part-time grant-funded educational support personnel as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Baxley.
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Exum.
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Motion passes, and that concludes our action items for the evening. There is no call for a future special or executive meeting at this time. Superintendent's report.
Okay, so Saturday, our fearless leader for Read Across America, Sherry Langendorf here, who organized us all and got several of us to greet and read. So thank you, Sherry, for your how many years have you been doing that?
This is the 25th year.
You've been doing it all 25 years? I did not know that.
chair for about 20.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now
Yeah.
I'm just a planning committee member.
That's wonderful. Well, you go and get us all out there. So it's amazing. I saw that on something that it was the 25th anniversary, and wow, it was amazing. It's just such a great, well-attended opportunity for our community. I really miss not taking my own kiddos, but it's nice to just walk, just walk around, and, my son and I were reminiscing that very morning, and I was like, you should go with me, and he was like, oh, I remember that, and so, yeah, it was great. So,
What's cool about that is that some of the children that first came are now bringing their children.
absolutely, that's amazing, yeah, wow. So I know Paul was a greeter. I didn't get to see everybody, but this is just us kind of standing with our bags, greeting people as they come in. I read this year. I usually don't do that, but I read a book. But yes, it's a well-attended. Thank you, Lincoln Square, for always hosting. It's such a great space because it's so open and people can just kind of wander. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to just see so many people, everyone from our community, teachers, parents. It's a great day. So it was wonderful weather too. So I think it just brought out everybody. It was, yeah, thank you for organizing and thank you for your team. The mayoral recognition program is coming. And so, of course, we saw Kanita there, and she's started kind of reminding me to help remind students. Okay, so UHS students, get in there and start signing up. If you've spent time volunteering this school year, you can be recognized. Last year, we had more than 100 students who volunteered more than 10,000 hours. So I know that is kind of the goal now, and we want to try to beat that, especially since this is Mayor Marlin's last mayoral recognition before she leaves her seat as mayor. And I know they want it to be really big and really well celebrated, since this was part of Mayor Marlin's vision and her commitment to supporting Urbana schools and Urbana students. So some of the requirements: if you volunteer at least 30 hours during the school year, you get honored. We have students who volunteer 30 hours. We have students who volunteer 300 hours. So it just depends. Enroll by March 15th. Submit your hours by March 28th. And for more information, there's a link there. And this is one of the pictures from last year. So our group getting bigger and bigger every year. So get in there and get registered. Dual language forums. This is the time of year we're doing a lot of heavy planning for next year already. So French dual language program, your informational night, if you're interested. Parents, come on out on Wednesday, March 12th, which is tomorrow night. From 6 to 7 p.m. And the Spanish dual language program informational night is Monday, March 24th from 6 to 7. Both nights for families will be held at in the library at Yankee Ridge. Kindergarten registration, we had this in there last week, but we're really trying to promote this any opportunity that we can. We need to know who you are. If you've got a student at home that will be 5 years old on or before September 1st. We want to get them registered for kindergarten on April 10th. We'll be at Lincoln Square from 10:30 to 5:30. So please bring your child if you can, because we will have people there doing kindergarten screening. For more information about what you need to bring with you to get that process started, we've provided a link there as well. Spring break is next week, so I know I think we're all ready, and the weather is really helping to push us in that direction, and we're looking forward to spring because the weather is kind of warmed up for us. But yes, spring break is next week. Staff Development Day is the week after, as well as student-led family conferences on that Thursday and Friday when we return from spring break. So everyone have a safe and happy spring break, and relax, relate, release, and then come back ready to finish the fourth quarter strong.
Thank you. There were a series of FOIAs that were processed that were listed in our publicly published agenda. This time, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Enjoy spring break, everybody.